So the question now is, where does Bitcoin go from here?
Right.
And so this is actually kind of interesting from an analyst that apparently a decade ago suggested that Bitcoin could reach 100,000.
Possibly.
Yeah.
It's prob-
And now he's saying that there's a 2% chance that Bitcoin could become all of money for every currency, absorb every currency,
okay.
in which case he estimates that it would be worth about 5 million per Bitcoin at that point.
You want to hold on to the one on your desk there.
I do. I would. Yeah. That's right. I don't have the special blue one there, but I do have a gold one.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's interesting. And, that's who knows. But there clearly is something happening here beyond, oh, it's a speculative asset. It's now worth $2 trillion.
Right.
Um, is there any company in the stock market that's worth 2 trillion where people say that's a speculative investment?
Yeah. Well, okay. No. Well, yes. I mean, NVIDIA, which is, of course, the hot tip of 2024. A lot of people are like, well, it can't continue to do this. So, yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's always some speculation, even in in terms
Oh,
of Apple and other companies like that are well established. There's always future projections about things.
right. I remember Sears was a thing once.
Yeah, yeah, and Sears was in a painful, long, slow decline. Um, yeah, for many decades. But anyway, it's interesting. I found it interesting that Chairman Powell would just
Right.
dismiss Bitcoin in that way.
Right.
I think he will live to regret those words.
I sus
That
but I suspect, CERN, that there's also, um, at least potentially, you have different personalities, as well as people with different histories and different educations that could look at Bitcoin and see a storehouse of value.
yes.
You have somebody else that would look at it and see a hedge,
Hmm.
see somebody else that look at it and see a medium of exchange. And,
Potentially, yep.
and then
Yep.
you could have some egghead like you who thinks it's some kind of security device. I don't know. Anything's possible, sir.
That's right. And by the way, it wasn't me that came up with that egghead idea. But thank you for commenting on the shape of my head. It is rather egg-like. Um, it's interesting. So when you look at Bitcoin in terms of its underlying technology, what really is it? Well, it's not a coin, right? It's software. So there's nothing tangible and real like this about it at all. Um, in reality, it's just a technology protocol,
Right,
much like we had TCP/IP for the internet and SMTP for email and all these other protocols that allow things to work.
right.
You could argue that the English language is a protocol,
Mhm.
right? And things like that. Mathematics is a protocol. So Bitcoin is a protocol in terms of what it fundamentally is. But the question is then what can you use that technology protocol for?
Right.
And as you mentioned, store value, potentially money, potentially as currency, potentially as, a way to secure digital assets. So I think people are gradually coming to a deeper understanding of all these things.
I think the one that you've, of course, talked about briefly on the well, at some length on the show before, in terms of a security, some kind of a security product, or a protocol for securing digital assets. I think
Yeah,
that's the hardest one to understand. I think, all the other ones may be hard enough to understand, but that one, you know, goes a layer deeper, if you will, in terms of people not even being interested in what a digital asset is.
sure. Well, think about your bank account.
Yeah.
How might a company secure that? Right now, they secure that with software and access to certain people that have access to it.
Mhm.
And as we've seen recently about certain Silicon Valley people being debanked,
Mhm. Yeah.
right? There's people that have the power to do that. And with a Bitcoin type system, no one would have the authority or the ability to debank somebody,
Oh, yeah.
right? So there's all kinds of possible ways of using Bitcoin and Bitcoin network to provide security. And it may be the security of keeping somebody out from doing something they shouldn't be doing,
Right.
as well as protecting your assets.
Okay.
So, yeah, we can explore that more at some point. I've shared this chart before. Again, I think this is a great visual for those that are just beginning to think about Bitcoin.
Yeah,
You know, we all think in terms of the world as priced in dollars,
right.
and that's natural because from the day that we were born, that's the reality that we live in. But I think what may be happening is if you think about the world being priced in Bitcoin, then it truly is the dollar losing value rapidly,
Okay.
right? With some fluctuation around it. It's not a straight line down for
Sure,
sure.
sure. And also with regard to the Bitcoin, it's a newer uh, method of value. And so therefore it's going up rapidly, much more rapidly than the dollar is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not enough to say that the dollar is decreasing compared.
Yeah, just depending on your frame of reference for sure. Yep, that's a good way to look at it.
If you happen to be a big fan of the Cybertruck, you might also be interested in this super fun Cybertruck refrigerator magnet and bottle opener. It is made out of super thick stainless steel, just like the Cybertruck, and it has this giant magnet on the back, so it's going to hold a lot of stuff on your refrigerator. It's an amazing gift, and it comes in that great gift box that you saw before that uses a magnet opener, just almost like an Apple box, you know, like when you get Apple products. You can buy it on Amazon for $29.95, or you can buy it direct from me by sending $25 to paypal.me/Randy Kirk, all in lowercase letters. Please indicate whether you want the stainless steel look or maybe you'd like to have this very clever camo version. And then if you're not in the US, please add $20 for freight. If you'd like more than one, please check the information below to get pricing, as well as all that information I just told you will be repeated in the information below. So once again, think about joining the channel, getting the up-to-date Tesla news every single day. I think you'll be glad you did.